So what we started doing in the public defender's office in 2016 is we started going through the list of kids who were in prison, and we started preparing biopsychosocial type mitigation reports for hundreds of youth in the prison system in preparation for their parole hearings. And it's really important when we started our mitigation unit that we told our clients stories. And so I want to give a couple examples of how we do that. So you see these beautiful glass grapes here. One of the very first mitigation reports that we did was for a client named Eddie. And the SSP submitted the report to me, and I'm reading about Eddie's life, which was very difficult. And I get to this part about glass grapes, and Eddie was basically bragging about how he didn't have much, didn't have wall coverings, didn't have much in the refrigerator, no art, no possessions, very few clothes, but they had in their house these decorative glass grapes, and he just loved them. And then one day he realized that, gosh, are there fewer glass grapes? Is that getting smaller? What is going on? And he kept noticing it and kept thinking it was strange, but he couldn't figure out what was going on with the glass grapes until one morning he came out into the living room and he saw a broken glass grape, drugs, and realized that his parents were using the glass grapes as makeshift pipes and bowls to ingest drugs. And I just remember thinking, oh, okay, that is so much more powerful. His experience and how he experienced that, how he felt, how it impacted him over time was so much more powerful in explaining who Eddie was than us one line in a report saying, parents had substance abuse issues.
But before I do that, I really want to talk about the biopsychosocial assessments that we do for court. The importance of this, Kellie was already honing in on, is creating that story and painting the picture of somebody's life. It is so vital to do that, considering that a court does not see and does not know anything about a youth or an adult unless we tell them. So when they come in, and I tell this to my juvenile kids, especially before I'd write a report for them, I would always just highlight to them the idea of, when you walk into a courtroom, there's paperwork, there's words written on a paper about something that you supposedly did wrong. Does that define you? Not necessarily, right? But they don't know that. There may be just information they provided from a police report or a probation report. They don't know who this person is. And whatever 10 or 15-second bad decision that they make, that does not depict who somebody is. And so these reports give us an opportunity to do that. We are able to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, just everything about somebody of their, from their upbringing all the way until nowadays. And so pieces of that, like what comprises a lot of our reports, we're going to be talking about current day and past history of mental health, substance abuse, familial environments, familial dynamics. We'll talk about different relationships, whether it be social within school settings, neighborhood settings, family settings, social economic status. We so often, I guess, with the population we're working with, they're impoverished. They grow up with sometimes not even those basic necessities. And so we really need and focus on the fact of, if you didn't have any food to eat growing up, what did that do? What would you do? How did that affect your family? How did it affect your ability to concentrate in school? So just very basic stuff like that, you ask these little questions and you really paint a picture of somebody's life. If they grow up in a gang entrenched area in their neighborhood, and let's say that they don't have transportation to school, they don't have a vehicle, how likely are they going to want to go to school every day and walk that distance from their neighborhood to the school? So it's things like this that we really need to paint the picture of a child or an adult's life. We talk about grief and loss. If they've lost close family or friends to them, how did that impact them? And even more so, did they get help for that? Were they offered counseling? Was there anybody they can talk to? So Was that their mentor? Was that their role model? So just questions like that. We also want to tie into research. So that is a very powerful thing that we do. When we are talking and stating facts about somebody's life, or facts as we know it from that person or their family or friends, the most important thing for us to do is to tie that in by research. Well, what could that do? What illnesses can that cause? What factors in their life can come to fruition because of certain things that had happened in someone's life? So we really work about focusing on that. And then treatment recommendations. So like I was mentioning, if somebody had grief and loss and they lost their family member, were they offered counseling? If they're talking about depressive symptoms, but then said that they've never been seen by anybody for mental health, I mean, have they been struggling with depression since they were 7, 8 years old when dad died? So we definitely like to tie in the treatment recommendations, because, you know, it's not fulfilled when we're writing something unless we're explaining to the court what we will do to help this person.